Are we live now? You know, I can never tell sometimes when we're live. I look at the sign says live, but I don't know. There's little circles moving. I don't know. When I would do this before, I would tell, don't touch anything. So I learned, don't touch anything. A little different setup though. It looks good. Is it showing good on your screen there, Kelly?
I got it here and I got it on my back.
Okay.
So it should be. It's not coming up on this.
It'll come up. Give it a moment.
You can just tell them we're having some technical difficulties. If you want
So
to.
I'm supposed to tell you we're having some technical difficulties, but no, we just switched it. We had a little problem with the laptop and some Facebook working together, so we just switched some things out. So just bear with me for a second, and I promise we'll get it done. I promise.
I can see comments. And you're logged into Newport News Police Department's page.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? There it is. There it is.
We found it.
It's just a delay.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're good. And
I think it's working.
Ms. Tool said she can see you. Comments. See all.
Okay.
Okay, it shows there are 3 comments. We cannot see them,
That's all right.
but you can see them.
I bet they'll start popping up. And look, you know what we'll do is if they don't pop up for some reason, just tell me what they're saying.
Okay.
We'll wing it.
Yeah, they're not showing up.
It's okay.
Let me go over here. Excuse me.
So I won't see. So Kelly, you'll. Oh, I see the comments right here. The comments are on this screen.
Are they? Or,
Yeah, perfect.
They were good.
I kind of like that better anyway. Look at that. So Lorraine from O'Toole Guest, right? I see you, Lorraine. Thank you very much. You know, look. At the end of the day, it's all going to work out, right? Perfect. So let's see. I can see you. Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you. All right. So now if I scroll, but I can only. So as they move, I can't keep up with them. You guys might have to help me. Can you?
Okay.
So can you scroll back to the top for me? Perfect. And this is what I'm used to. What we did all the way to the top for me. All right. I can see you. I can see and hear you clearly. Thank you so much, Jessica. You got me. Kevin Razzle. Jessica Nelson. Jessica, I totally understand. I understand. Jeff Wright, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. My friend from watching the softball games. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. That's good. Annette, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Felicia, thank you. Look, all individuals let me know I'm on there. Everything seems to be working now. Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. You know that I don't touch anything electrical, so I don't. But I get blamed for it all the time. But I never touch it. It's not me. I never touch it. But it's all right. It's all working out. Zachary, good to have you, my friend. Thank you, Cameron. Here you Cameron. Yeah. So Cameron is a young adult police commissioner. He is one of our high school students. And Cameron, look, I haven't even told the folks down here they're going to help me, but Cameron's going to be joining me tonight. So I'll have a partner in crime with me tonight on partner in crime. I'll have a partner with me, one of our young adult police commissioners. We'll be talking a little bit about how we're working together with youth, how important that is, and then some of the things that we're doing. And then there's questions from our youth and students. If you want to ask Cameron anything about what it's like to work with the police department and things that he's exposed to and that we talk about, I believe that youth are our future, right? As we move forward. I want to make sure that we continue to focus on our youth. And we've had some real challenges with COVID and this pandemic we're going through. But I will tell you, we have stayed committed to having in-live events with our youth, spacing out but having good discussions. And I will tell you, I learn a lot from the youth of this city. I learn a lot. They have a voice, and I learn a lot. And I appreciate them sitting down with me, talking. We just had them last week at one of our simulators and kind of working through scenarios where officers have to make split-second decisions, and I was very impressed with the work that they did. We had a really good time. So he may talk a little bit about that. So Cameron, I look forward to seeing you tonight, my friend. Thank you. scroll back up just for me a little bit. I missed one I wanted to hit on. Jessica, thank you. I appreciate that. Ethan, first time. Ethan, well, you're excited to see what this is about. Well, let me tell you, Ethan, I'm excited to just make sure it's working, my friend. But we'll have a good conversation. Usually the flow. What I try to do is I'm going to give you some background. I think it's important that the community has a good understanding and open and transparent of what crime looks like in our city, what we're doing in our city, and then we're going to talk about events that we're doing. We're going to talk about some of the challenges we see in law enforcement today, how we're trying to address that here in Newport News, and then some things we have coming forward. So I want it to be informative, but I really am hoping to get questions from individuals that are logged on. I know, so I will be the first to tell you, I am not technical savvy. So I have a lot of help here. Kelly and Sarah are here to help me. And believe it or not, Harold's in the background making sure that none of us mess anything up. So no, I have a great team here in our media relations department. And it was something new for me to talk into a box, right? I'm used to being in the public meeting or community meeting, but I did not realize that individuals could watch these segments later on, that people could chime in, and there's different things going on, and it's just much more convenient in some ways. I miss that human touch, but at the end of the day, the important part is getting information out. So these have been very beneficial. We do them once a month, and we do them at 12 noon, and then we'll be back tonight at 6 this evening for a second session. Okay. Scrolling back up just for a little bit for me. Okay, great. So I got Ethan. Hello, Chitri. I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We had a bad week last week, a lot of hours, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Ms. Schmidt, my appreciation for the police. My application is in for the police recruit, and I have my test scheduled next month. Wow, that is what I'm talking about. That's great. Thank you very. I look forward to working with you. That's fantastic. Let's see what we got. Amanda. She's telling. Okay, good. Yeah. So look, they got to talk me through if there's a comment going back and forth. Ruth, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that. Wow, it's good to see you. Chief, is there any community programs for volunteers? Absolutely. So I will tell you, I'm very glad to hear about the plans working with youth. A lot of kids, scroll down just for a minute. A lot of kids need good role. Okay, yep, let me get caught up just a little bit. So there are all kinds of programs, community for volunteers. We just got one of our key players back. Like if you have a football team and the quarterback goes down, you're filling in and people are stepping in and doing the job. Monica White, our quarterback, just came back for our community programs, and she is off and running. I'm trying to keep up with her now. Monica does a lot of our citizen academies. So we have some volunteers that come through there. We have an alumni citizen academy. We have all kinds of volunteer opportunities as we kind of work through this pandemic, and things are starting to open up a little bit in some places. If you want to volunteer with us in this department, if you'll just send us your name and number, we'll reach out to you. But there are plenty of opportunities, and we would love to work with you. And when you're associated with us and doing some things with us, you get to kind of see some of the insight. We peel back the layers, and you kind of see the inner workings of the department. And I think you will be very surprised at some of the things that we do here. We have really evolved over the last 3 to 5 years in this department, and of course you see what's going on. So there are absolutely, and I'll tell you, a lot of kids need good role models. Jessica, you're absolutely right. One of the 3 pillars that I have for this department is, one, that we are going to be the police here. We're not going to tolerate people taking advantage or hurting other people. The second is it's not 1985, right? We cannot police the same. We have to evolve and change. And I'm looking for people to come into this organization that think outside the box, are creative, new ideas, right? And to do that, I want people to know that who comes to work here, sworn in civilian, that they're valued, that they matter. They matter to me. The third pillar for me is youth. We are going to be community oriented. We're going to focus on our neighborhoods, our communities, our faith leaders, our businesses. But I have a heart for youth. We have you'll meet him tonight, but we have a young adult police commissioner program. That is a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from every high school in the city. So 6 high schools, 6 times 4 is 24. We work with those young people, those young adults from 3 to 6. Sometimes they hang around a little longer. We feed them, but we meet with them every Wednesday, and we spend about 3 hours. And it's school resource officers, myself, other assistant chiefs, other officers that come in, and we have good conversations about diversity, about interviews, about what the city should be like, what they expect from their police department. I've taken them with me to city council meetings. They've addressed city council and the mayor. When I do interviews, they will be with me. Any event that we have as a police department, whether it is a promotion ceremony, graduating class of new recruits, if it is a police memorial, national night out, I always have a young person, a teenager, be one of the guest speakers. I think that's important. I do that for two reasons. One, not only do the youth have a voice, and they matter to me, I'm trying to send that message to the youth of this community, that the youth in this city, that I think are some of the most talented people, that they matter. I'm also trying to send a message to this department, that the youth of this city matter to me, and that's where we're going to focus. And I will tell you, I learned as much from them, I hope, as they learned from us. I really enjoy interacting with them and learning now. I don't claim to be up on the TikTok videos and the Insta chat and all those things. They teach me about them, but I enjoy interacting with them, and they just really bring another perspective. So I appreciate that. Jessica, you're absolutely right. Amanda Rose. Amanda, thank you very much. That means a lot. Shelley, thank you for being here. Thank you. Keith, good afternoon, Chief from Richmond. So called to hear you and the NPD will be able to come to Ashland. Yes, I'm going to be at Ashland, and I've been telling a couple people here about a little bit about Ashland, so I might bring a little some up there with me. We might even be doing some recruiting up there. So just a little bit north of Richmond. It is a great event to honor Officer Thine. I know we tried to do this a few times before, but we will be there and look forward to seeing you and interacting. And thank you so much for the invite. Look forward to being there. Annette, are you going to touch on the shootings? Yes, Annette, I'm going to. Yep, absolutely. I promise. I already passed the polygraph. Wow, there you go. You're on your way. You're on your way. There you go. That's great. I can't wait to see you join the team. That'll be fantastic. Monica, first, I want to commend you, Chief Drew, and your officers for the work you're doing. Have a wonderful city, Newport News. My question is, we've had several fatalities on. Wow. Let me tell you, Kelly, I'm going to tell you now. The individuals they're locked in because the two things that they've talked about, shootings and traffic fatalities, are two things that are on this board in front of me that I want to talk about. So let's dive into that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what our crime is, take 2 minutes on that, and then I'm going to talk about the last couple of weeks that we've had and some of the challenges we've faced. But I also want to make sure that I'm open and transparent, right? If I ask the question, how many homicides in the city, and you can respond, how many homicides in the city do you think we have had so far this year in Newport News? Or how many homicides do you think we had last year? I ask that question, and sometimes I'm blown away by the response I get. And perception are people's reality. So I want to make sure that we're giving out accurate information. That's one of the reasons vital, I feel, to be open and transparent about what the real data is. But if anybody has any idea of the number of homicides that we've had in our city this year, or the number of homicides we've had last year, just go ahead and pop it up, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our crime. So we break crime into two categories, our violent crime and our property crime. We combine those two together, and every department in the United States sends that data to the FBI. They put all that together, and they create what's called a national average. From that national average, they also look at how many crimes are solved, and they call that a clearance rate. So the national average of crime, national average of our clearance rates. How many crimes are you solving? If I reported our crime data today, we are down 24% in crime from where we were this time last year. Now, I got here in the summer of July 2018. At the end of 2018, we had a 5% reduction in crime. In 2019, we had a 9% reduction in crime. Last year, we had a 13% reduction in crime. And today, now I know we're only a few months into the year, so don't get me wrong, we still got a long way to go. But today we have a 24% reduction in crime. That's all crime, or what we would call total crime. It's all our violent crime and all our property crime tied together. Our violent crime are our homicides, our aggravated assaults, which are shootings and our stabbings, or bad beatings where you have to get some type of medical attention. The intent to maim, kill, or hurt someone where they have to get some type of medical treatment. It's not just a slap or a push. So we have aggravated assaults, we have our homicides, we have rapes and robberies. That's our violent crime. Our property crime are our thefts, right? You're breaking into burglaries, larcenies, and auto thefts. We put those together, and that our total crime is what we would send off to the FBI. So, anybody scroll down just a little bit for me? Let's see if anybody put any
Mhm.
oh, no, not that far.
There you go.
No, go back up to the top. Let me see if I make sure I didn't miss any.
Never gonna put it in.
Okay. So,
This one.
so far this year, we have 10 homicides in our city. We just did a story, I think, with Channel 13, I believe it was.
Mhm.
And I think it's important. You know, sometimes I hear numbers like, 50 or 60 homicides, or, we had 120 homicides last year. No. The city of Newport News has never, in its existence, has never had over 35 homicides in a year. We're averaging, when I look back about our 5, 6, 7 year average, we average about 25 homicides a year. The national clearance rate is 62.8, 63%. The last 3 years, we've been above that. We currently have 10 homicides this year in our city. So it's important to break them down. I don't have individuals that are running around shooting people in the street. That's not the case. We have 4 or 5 homicides this year that happen behind closed doors, inside, whether it's a love triangle or a domestic situation. It's sad when those happen. One of the things once we respond to that is trying to understand why. Why would one individual take another individual's life? We have had 3, maybe 4 domestic homicides already this year, where arrests are made. So when I say 6 of the 10 are cleared, that means 6 individuals have already been charged out of the 10 murders. So that leaves 4 that are remaining. Of those 4, 2 occurred last week. One was a young man who lost his life on Boulevard, and another was a domestic situation, a brother on brother inside his residence. Those situations where we have shootings in the street, those are the ones I'm not saying any life is more important than another, but those seem to concern citizens the most. So the ones that happen behind closed doors, it's very hard for officers to drive, patrol a neighborhood, and know what goes on behind those closed doors, right? Those domestic situations, those arguments, those friendships that turn into an argument in the heat of the moment, those are hard. We do get calls for that, but our best response to addressing those situations are when family members, friends, neighbors hear something, see something, they know there's some type of rift, that we can get involved on the front end. But all too often, we get involved once something bad has happened. There's 4 homicides that are currently open. One is an individual that was last week, a 17-year-old that was shot and killed on Boulevard. I would tell you we have strong leads in that case. We have an individual that was found inside a vehicle in the northern part of the city, in a very, very secluded neighborhood where we don't get many calls at all. We have very strong leads in that case. We have one that was an arson that resulted in individual smoke inhalation. That one we need some more work on. We need some help with the community on. In the third open homicide, we have very, very strong leads there as well. When I say that, is people that they knew, that may have had some confrontation with, or that they knew or were friends with. So I don't want to go too much into those open cases, but 3 of the 4 that are open, we have strong leads with, and I fully believe we will solve all 3 of those. There's one that they're struggling with that we haven't got a lot of input in. So I ask, that we ask our community, those that live in the area, those that may have know something or seen something, to please let us know. No piece is too small. I'd rather look at it and, okay, that has nothing to do with it, and then not get that at all. So again, 10 homicides in our city, 6 are cleared by arrest. We have 4 that are open, and of those 4, 3 I believe will be cleared this year. Of those 6 that we've had, 4 of those have happened. 4 or 5 of those have happened inside and have been with known parties and are love triangle, domestic related type situations, and they're sad. They're sad. And trying to understand what precipitated that, we try to figure that out. I know there's a lot of things going on with the pandemic and People are not sure about finances and businesses that are closed down and restrictions and frustrations. I get that. I will tell you, last year our suicide rate almost doubled in this city, and overdoses are continuing to be on the rise in our city. For the first year in 4 years, we have a reduction in our domestic assaults. And that is a crime that we have been struggling with. We tried some new things. Instead of trying the traditional thing, continue doing the same thing over and over. And I'll tell you, in most domestic situations, we probably arrest 95% of the individual. They're usually there, or it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, son, daughter, people that live together, right? They're usually there. But I will tell you, we decided last year to try something new. We hired, not contracted with, not asked them to come in for a while. We hired two fantastic individuals. Cheryl and Nisha were both hired to come in and work not only on the proactive side to decrease domestic violence, raise awareness, to talk about it with our high school students, our college students, our individuals that are different entities and businesses in the city, but also to work with officers, to tell us and teach us that, in our world, in our mind, in our training, who hit who was the offender, and make the arrest and go to the next call. But they're teaching us that how we walk across that threshold and how we interact with someone sets the whole tone of how that's going to go. And we've learned so much. I've learned so much. But this is the first year in about 4 years that we have seen a decrease in our aggravated assaults that have been domestic related, and they are doing phenomenal work. So I don't know if they're watching. I give them a hard time. I tease them. I never can find them because they're always up to something or traveling around talking to different groups. But they do phenomenal work. I know they're overworked, but they both have a passion, and they have made this department better. All right, so we talked a little bit about crime. Let's talk about the other question that we had was about traffic fatalities. Last week we had the two homicides that we talked about. We had a SWAT mission that started Thursday night about 9 or 10 o'clock and then rolled until about Friday at noon before we were able to get that for the individual eventually gave up. But time was on our side. We had some hard decisions to make, but eventually the negotiators did a phenomenal job. The tactical team, the SWAT team did a phenomenal job. Individuals that were calling shots and making those decisions, I cannot be more happy with and impressed with. But over the weekend, I believe we had 3 fatalities. We have officers that we send to training, 3 different levels, about accident reconstruction that can determine the speed, the amount of impact, a lot of the black boxes that are inside vehicles. But we have an issue with traffic fatalities, primarily due to speed, but also pedestrians that are walking in the middle of the street, crossing 5 and 6 lanes of traffic at 2 in the morning, or trying to dart across traffic, not crossing at intersections, right? Darting across almost at diagonal or straight across, that are wearing dark clothing in the middle of the night, or darting across traffic at rush hour. And most of the time, and I don't want to see any loss of life, but most of the time those actions cause that result, right? When we're not crossing at crosswalks, when we're trying to dart across in the middle of the night, some that may have alcohol related, the traffic fatalities, speed, traffic accidents. We created a traffic division to address that in March of last year. So I'm still committed to that, but I am concerned when I look at where we're at this year compared to last year of the accidents, whether they be on a vehicle, motorcycle, pedestrian. Everybody just needs to slow down. I promise you will get there, right? You need to slow down. And when officers do traffic enforcement, we do a checkpoint. It's not about creating revenue or writing tickets or citations. It's about trying to protect people's lives. It leads me to talk about the cameras on the buses. We partner with the school system, that all the buses now in the city have cameras, right? When a bus stops and our students are getting on the bus, there's an alarm that comes out. We all remember that, right? But we've got to make sure, remember, that coming or going, especially when there's no median, coming or going, that we stop, that we allow individuals to get on and then the bus to proceed. But with cameras there, we now have an officer dedicated to reviewing camera footage, and you would be surprised at the individuals that just blow past the bus. We can look at, I get a report every Monday of the number of violations, And I think to date, we're up around 300 or 400, and we've only been doing it a little over a month. It's crazy. So I just remind people that when the bus stops, the stop sign comes out, right? We all remember, and the bar comes out, and kids are walking across, that we're stopping for that bus. It takes a few minutes to get people loaded. I know people are in a hurry to get where they've got to go, and how fast life moves today, and being at meetings in different places. But please, please, I don't want to see anyone else get hurt in the city. Um, but traffic, and I'll tell you, it's one of the things that the city manager talks to me about regularly, is about individuals being struck in the roadway. And it is hard, especially at nighttime when they're running across, trying to cross multiple lanes. It's very, very dangerous. So that's a great, both those questions that have come in really, really tell me that people are involved. That's great. Thank you. All right, so let me just scroll back up and kind of see where I left off at. I don't want to miss. And let me say this. Okay, perfect. Let's stop right there for a second. Let me say this before we go any. As like I said, I may get to talking about a topic. Every post, every question you ask is important to me. If I miss it, I do not do it intentionally. I don't move as fast as I used to, right? That's what I tell people. If I miss, I will go back and find it, and we will send you a message via Facebook, right, to get your answer or to get a response to you. I don't want you to think I'm blowing you off. I'm not trying to do that at all. But sometimes if I'm reading and I skip something, so please bear with me, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. Okay, let me go down to Roderick, Mr. Barra. It's possible to have some of them to promote programs at Hampton Road Peninsula Youth Leadership Conference in September. Roderick, yeah, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Look, I'm telling you, anything I can do with youth, I'm going to be on board. And I don't. It doesn't have to be us doing it, right? Just supporting. There is a Zoom, I guess, forum. I think that's the right term, where the Mayor's Youth Academy and the Young Adult Police Commissioners are going to hold a session with specialists about behavioral health, about mental illness, and they're going to people will be able to write in and ask questions, and how that affects our communities and how we see that. That's right around the corner. I'll give you the date, but I don't want to tell you the wrong. 22nd of May, of April 22nd. So that I will be tuning in. I'm not taking a role in that. I'm just supporting what our youth are doing, and I think that matters. I was glad to see that football came back, and one of the benefits of Newport News is all the games are played at one location at Todd Stadium, and I really enjoy. Myself and Chief Grinstead go out to just about every game at Todd Stadium. We try to spend about equal time on both sides, right? So we're not showing favorites. But I just like being there and seeing the parents and family and friends in the stadium, watching the game, cheering for our youth. Those things matter. Those things matter. And usually after the game, I'll be directing traffic with the SROs that are there. So when families leave, I just wave, say hello. I want to be accessible to this community, and I want this community to know that they matter to me, and the youth of this city matter to me. But I'll get some requests sometimes. Chief, can we get together and talk maybe a Friday evening? Yep, I'll be at the football game. Come out and walk around the field with me, and we'll talk. So, youth is a big passion of mine, and that is our future. And we spend a lot of time investing in that. Terry, hello, Chief. Is the city still using the gunfire alert system? It's been a long time since any info on the system. So, gunfire alert. If you mean shot, I'll get it. Shot spotter. If that's the system you're referring to, we do. Matter of fact, we're even looking at purchasing another system and maybe putting it in another location of the city. It has been extremely beneficial, both in reacting to gunfire, but also defunking some comments about gunfire. Here's what I mean. An individual that shows up at the hospital that has a gunshot wound to their leg and says they were shot in an area where we have that system, and we don't have any activations. And the system is very, very sophisticated. It costs a lot of money. It better be, right? It's very, very sophisticated. It can tell the difference between gunfire and fireworks, and 90-some% of the time it can tell us the type of caliber of firearm used. Using that, individuals have come forward and said, look, I had a gun and I shot myself in the leg. I shot myself in the hand unloading it. So it allows us to validate what some are saying. In other situations, because it is direct, right, it sends a message directly to officers' phones or computers in their car. Instead of driving around the area 3 or 4 blocks, someone heard gunfire, it triangulates it and pinpoints where it is. I bet there's probably been 7, 8, maybe 10 incidents where officers have arrived and had someone actually with the firearm in the air. It is a very, very beneficial. It is an expensive piece of equipment, but I think it's valuable. And one of the things we may talk on later today, this afternoon, certainly tonight, is technology. That is where I'm making a lot of investment, is how do we work smarter with all the advances in technology today. So we still have it. Our mayor and city manager are big proponents. They have put a lot of emphasis on using this product. And it's kind of like anything else. You get out of it what you put into it. I will tell you, we use it extreme, and I believe we're the only ones in the area that have it. But again, focusing on technology is so important to me, and that's how we have to move. One of the ways we'll be moving forward. Amanda, I wish a lot of police chiefs would do this monthly. Amanda, I don't know. They may look at me like, oh, we don't want to do what he's doing. And I'll tell you, I am not the best at it. But I do believe it is important to get our message out and communicate. And media relations have proven to me, they assure me that this is a very good way to do it. But I think the more information that we know, the more conversations we have, the more open and transparent we are, I think makes for better relationships. So I appreciate that. Sometimes I'll meet people and they say, "Yeah, we saw you doing the Facebook. I don't know what do you call it, chat live stream, right? They saw you doing it, and they're like, Chief, you need a little bit more hair, a little bit of shine on top of that dome, and so we tease each other a little bit, but it tells me they're watching, and they talk about some questions that they put in and they refer, so that matters. So yeah, for me, for this department, it's worked. I feel it's been very successful, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learn from it, and we're sharing information. For me, I get to see the questions you ask, and I've even used this venue to have other people come on and talk with me and share what we do. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. It really encourages me to keep doing what we're doing. Did I miss any?
No,
Monica, I want to commend you, Chief, and your officer work that you're doing in Warner City and Newport News. We have several. No, I hit that one already. Yeah, scroll back down for me. Krista, my friend was killed on Jefferson in an auto pedestrian accident a couple of years ago because someone didn't obey traffic signals. Yeah, I told you, I get it. When we look at crime data and statistics, we also look at traffic fatalities, traffic accidents, where they're happening at, what time of day, what location, and there are some locations that are considerably higher than others. We look at our overdoses. We look at our suicides. I need to measure all those things, and I know they're numbers, but I'm telling you, when I look at them in that way, I'm measuring, or is what we're doing decreasing them or increasing, or we're not seeing a change? We need to rethink it, do something different. But they're not just numbers; they're individuals, right? Things that happen to people, residents in our city, or people who live in our city, working. Playing in our city, passing through our city, they're individuals, and those incidents affect families. And I'm very, very sorry for your loss. I think most of us know someone that has been killed in a traffic accident or injured, and not excluding myself. And I feel for you, and I am very, very sorry. Anthony, is that where I left off at?
Mm-hmm.
Good there. Anthony, Chief, hope all is well. I was wondering if it was the best time to give you a call to speak about the department. Also, you guys have a pay scale. Anthony, so I don't know if you're work at another department or not. We do have a pay scale based on experience. We do have officers that lateral from other departments, so we would look at the size of the department and experience that you bring to the table. We have some college incentives. The city matches a portion of your college classes. We assist with that. So yes, we do, and if you just, Anthony, you can send us a number, or if you look on the website, or I can even get it here before we get off today, I'll give you the number to our recruiting. Just say, hey, my name is Mr. Johnson. I talked to Chief Drew on the live secret super chat, and I'd like some information about And I will tell you, one thing this department does is we hire continually. Instead of doing 2 academies, one in January, they graduate 7 months later, then another one in the summer that graduates in December, we're running 3 academies. So we got every 4 months we got a new academy starting. And the benefit of that is we are hiring the whole time, right? We don't hire, stop, open up, hire, and stop. We're continually hiring. So we may even bring people on a month before the academy starts, let you work in some of the different organizations, some of the different departments, and then you're set to go when the academy starts. I'm not going to lose good people because I'm not ready to start the academy yet. Once we get you on board, we can get you acclimated and have you do some different things before that academy starts. So we do that. All right, scroll back up for me. I missed, let's see. Yeah, Anna. Anna, it's good to see you. Good afternoon. Thank you for Alicia. Wow. Anna, thank you so much. I do believe that transparency is a key element in things that we do. I value, I learn a lot just from listening. It's kind of weird talking into this box, but seeing the comments come through, they're very, very good questions, and it allows us to share. So I think it's important that we're transparent, not just on the good things, right? But as much as we can be, as much as it can be. We certainly, I will tell you, I do not, this department does not, this profession does not always get it right. We make mistakes. We're all human. We make mistakes. What separates us or defining moments is what we do once we make that mistake. Do we just stay in the same pattern, oh well, and write it off, or do we try to improve and do better? Do we try to do things on the front end to decrease us from the times we may make those mistakes? Do we learn from each other? And we learn a lot from just the departments and the relationships I have with the chiefs and the different departments in this area, but we can also learn from out of state. We look at things that other departments do. We modeled one of our new programs that start next month, our CARES program, after things going on in Seattle. And the CARES program is where we will have clinicians and paramedics that will be first responders, and police will kind of take a second step back. We'll be the second responders. We'll be there, kind of back out of the way to calls for homelessness, depression, suicidal, mental illness calls where there's no violence associated with it. Sometimes just showing up in this uniform and this patch, it's not personal, but this may set someone off or scare them. Oh, I'm suffering from depression, I have drug addiction, they're coming here to arrest me. And it may just change the course of that interaction we're having. To bring some different individuals that look at things differently and get help that we need or that the individuals need, I think is a true benefit. The Marcus Alert is about that very topic, trying to figure out how the state of Virginia will do this. I'll tell you, there's 2 departments that are working through it. One is in Northern Virginia and one is Newport News that have some things in place that they're looking at modeling after, and they want to see how they work. I wish we would have started 2 months ago, but I don't want to rush it and fumble through it. I want to make sure that we're set to go, but we should be starting next month, so I'm looking forward to that. Carrie, that means a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Corey, they did an awesome job on training and oh yeah, Corey, yeah, they did. I will tell you, I have to catch up because every time I talk to them about one training, they've done 2 or 3 more. And they may be doing some training out of the state. From things I'm hearing, they're getting called upon a lot from other departments across the country. So I think that just continues to really shine. And we've kind of would like to hear their input about what we can do better and how we need to continue to do it. Domestic violence is an issue for 3 years we didn't see much change in. It continued to grow. Maybe now we're starting to come to an area where we're working with our resources. We have experts in-house. We've hired both of these fantastic women, but so much so that because we placed another detective in the domestic violence division, and I've got I'll talk a little bit about it here shortly, but we're going to do some promotions, and I'm going to put another sergeant down there that just overseeing domestic violence. The work that they do is huge. It is a heavy caseload. I did not realize how much of the work they can do, but it's enough that I need a supervisor down there to help them to get them the things that they need. So we'll make a promotion. I'm going to do 2 sergeant promotions in the first week of May, and one of a sergeant will be assigned down there with him. So that'll be an addition for us. Chris, good afternoon. It's good to have you on board. Did I miss one before, Chris? Patty. Patty, thank you. I appreciate it. That means a lot. Thank you. There's really good news to hear regarding the domestic assault numbers. I've repeatedly heard you expressing your concern to make progress. I appreciate your willingness to try something different. Wow. Ford, thank you so much. I will tell you, I have to admit, I really struggled. Like I said, we're making the arrests in domestic violence, but we still see them occurring. So I wanted to try something outside the box. Again, I met with our city manager. Um, we have a tremendous amount of support. And it's a blessing to work with such a great mayor and city council who see domestic violence as a real concern. We hired 2 activists that teach us how to address victims and how better ways to do interviews and look for certain signs that abuse is there but may not be physical. Things that I would have never even thought of. But they're both fantastic. Now, don't get me wrong, I give them a hard time. I tease them. Right? I was over there checking on them today, and neither one of them could talk to me because they were both helping people on the phone. And I'll tell you, they're doing some great things, and they are amazing people. But they have a drive in their heart to help others, and I think that is starting to be infectious with what we're trying to do with domestic violence. So my hat's off to them. Deborah, it's good to have you on board. Thank you so much. Roberta, I appreciate you being here. Okay, so you're saying they're speeding on Atkinson Boulevard. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. That's good. I've been approached by panhandlers that will walk into the road. Is not. Yeah, so matter of fact, we were talking to our city officials the other day about panhandlers. So there's some challenging there. They should not be in the road obstructing traffic, but there's some recent rulings by the court that create some challenges for us. What we've taken the approach to do here is when we get a call about panhandling or aggressive panhandling is to try to talk to the individual, make some referrals, work with our day reporting center to see if there's whether it's homelessness, some whatever the issues might be, if there's mental illness, to try to work with them and treat the problem. I don't want to move them just from one spot to another. I don't believe that arresting them or charging them is the right answer either. Then they come into the court system, and we're not trying to put people like that in our criminal justice system. So it's trying to find a way to help. But you're absolutely right. I know that some of them come into the street. If they see that and it becomes a problem, please call us, let us know. One of the things I'm looking at as the department grows is to have, scroll back up, is to have like an environmental officer that kind of works hand in hand with some of those issues. Again, it's non-traditional, right? It's not chasing the bad guy. It's non-traditional, but to kind of be a liaison for those individuals and work with entities and resources. We kind of have an environmental officer assigned. We have a neat team that works with code enforcement, high grass, buildings that are dilapidated. But what if we had an officer in each precinct that's what they focused on? Collapsed buildings, vehicles that don't have any tires on the road that are parked. Now, every officer should do that. But as we're running calls and trying to interact with youth, if I had officers that specifically focused on issues with environment, you would be surprised if I go to a neighborhood and there's an alley and there's overgrown trees and shrubs and bed mattresses thrown in the back, that breeds activity. It sends a message that we don't really care what's going on in that community. But if you go to that same neighborhood and you clean all that up, cut the trees back, get that grass cut down, work with the different entities that we have in the city, getting those traffic lights repaired, picking up a stop sign that's been knocked over, one that's spray painted to clean it off or replace it, and you move on that stuff quick, it also sends a message we're not going to tolerate that kind of activity here. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at to talk to our city manager and city council next year about environmental officers that focus on things like that in the community. Washington, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Good afternoon. Deborah, I'm sure you've been made aware of the April 24 TikTok. What are your thoughts? I have not. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry, Deborah. I don't know about. So again, like I say, technical savvy. But I'm not. I'm not sure. Is that a video or something? But we'll have to take a look at it. Or if you got a link to it or something like that, and you want to let me know, I'd be glad to take a look at it. But I'm not sure. Cameron, it's on Thursday. I believe it starts at 6 p.m. Not
The mayor's forum.
Oh, the mayor's forum. Yes. Yeah. So Cameron, look. So people are going to be talking about that tonight. I want you to talk a little bit about that, as much as you know about our partnership with the Mayor's Youth Academy and kind of what that will look like and be like, and is what we try to address. Jan, thank you, Chief, for leading wow. Felt safe this weekend with the DUI patrols. God bless. Stay safe. Jan, thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to continue to focus on. I think we have to focus on traffic. We have way too many accidents and fatalities, and the way Newport News is laid out, right, is linear. So look, there's really Warwick and Jefferson going through. If we have an accident, things get shut down, and there's some real straightaways. So I think we have to focus on traffic enforcement. Again, it's not about writing tickets. It's not about creating revenue. It's about safety. It's about safety. So Jan, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Terry, thank you, Chief, for answering my question. I hope the city continues to support. Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I would very much like to see us in the future add another, if not two more systems at different locations in our city. But those are things that I'm looking at. All right, so scroll way back up for me.
This is where we were at.
No. There was one I wanted to go back. We got Cameron already, right?
Mhm.
All right. Terry, we good? Okay.
Keep going.
All right, good. All right. I just don't want to miss anybody. Don't want anybody getting mad at me. Okay, scroll down just a little bit more. Anthony, we got your number. Anthony, we getting back to you. Good. Another Forchette, I'm looking to join your department. Anthony, that's great. When you said pay scale, I didn't know if you were coming from another department or we're looking at another department. So, yeah, I'll tell you, I'll have someone in recruiting give you a call today. Probably Officer Wynn will reach out to you and we'll talk a little bit and he can answer your questions more directly. But yeah, I'd love to have you come work with us, my friend, see if we can work that out. Sheila, watching from Hampton. Well, Sheila is good at, am I saying that right? Wait. Shayla? Sheila. How about this? Miss Blackwell. It's good to have you on board and thank you for joining us from Hampton. Mr. Washington, who do we talk to about corners coming so long? About what? About
Corners coming so long.
on Saturday. This was ridiculous from 2 to 6. My heart goes out to the family, young men, and driver. 2 to 6. So I'll tell you, Mr. Washington, there's a lot of factors that play into that. That's a great question. We get that a lot when we do our Citizens Academy when individuals have, why is someone, so it's more than just the time it takes a coroner to come. There's when we have physical evidence that we want to process, we're not allowed to move anything until the ME, the medical examiner, or coroner releases the body. What happens, the process is, when we respond to a scene, we'll make a phone call to let them know what we have. But if there is physical evidence, we need to have exact measurements, right? When we reconstruct that crime scene, we need to have exact measurements to take any information or things that might transfer from one person to another or from one vehicle to a person. So there's a process there. I don't want to put all the blame on the coroner side or the medical examiner side. A lot of it is the investigation, and I understand. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've held a lot of mothers who've lost loved ones, a lot of fathers whose sons or daughters have been injured or hurt. I understand that, but I'm telling you, the way the court process is, they expect to see that evidence, and when it's there, we got to make sure we preserve it. So there's a lot of factors that play into that. But I totally understand. It's a very good point. And I think one of the things that we've gotten better at, or at least I hope that we have, Mr. Washington, I hope that we've got better at explaining that. I think when sometimes, it sends a message, they just don't care if someone's laying there. That's not the case at all. It's getting those forensic technicians there. It's taking the photographs and the measurements that are vital when we come to reconstruction and we come to court proceedings and providing that information to the Commonwealth Attorney. Melissa, hey Chief, we're looking for one more high school age student, one more officer for an open mic night hosted by. Oh, okay, yeah. So I've got a list here of things I wanted to share. Melissa, great. I appreciate that. So one of the things, again, right, talking with youth. Last month, I had 16 recruits in the police academy that are getting ready to graduate, and they're going to be out patrolling the neighborhoods of the city. And some of those individuals are only a couple years older than our seniors in high school. So I took 16 young adult police commissioners, that's our freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior in high school, and I mixed them in with the 16 recruits that are going to graduate. And we had a discussion. And the students asked the officers, the recruits, some things, and the recruits asked the students some things. And there were some really good, heartfelt conversations. There were some laughs, and there were some somber moments, and there were some tears. I remember one student asked another one, "Why do you want to be in this line of work?" And the recruit reflected back on when they were a child, their mother being scared, and that she remembered that, and she didn't want other kids to feel that way. Another one, another recruit talked about how a officer came to talk to her at elementary school, and Officer Harper knew then that she wanted to be a police officer in this city, and she wanted to give back, and she graduated, and I cannot be happier for her. I think they will both go to be outstanding officers in this city. But it was good conversation. So that's a session we did last month. This month, we've already talked a little bit about the mental awareness, mental health conversation that will take place. But there's a lot of frustration, right, with the pandemic, the way schools are, and how many are allowed to go, and how many aren't, and the different hours, and the struggles with graduation. We saw last year graduation very, very different. Concerns that people have about violence, drug addiction, just concerns that young people have. So on Monday, we are going to have, I'm going to get this wrong, please don't laugh at me, open mic, spoken word, drop the mic right, poetry slam. We're going to have young people, students, express themselves about some of the frustrations they're seeing. I mean, we're going through a pandemic across the country, over the globe, that I've never seen anything like that in my young life, right? But we're going to have people express themselves. And because I care so much for youth, officers are going to interact with them as well. So there's going to be, we have, matter of fact, Nisha is going to moderate, and she's going to give a poem herself. Myself and the assistant chiefs are going to be there in plain clothes. I want to hear what our young people are saying in the city. I want to know what they're concerned about, some of their frustrations. We will send links for the mayor and city council, Dr. Parker, and the school board members to see what the youth of this city are saying. But that's what Ms. Cole's talking about. So we ask if there are young people that were interested to take part in that, to let us know. They can reach out to us by Facebook or call. But I'm very excited for that event and just expression. We've done them a few times before, and I can tell you, they can be very powerful. So Melissa, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Is it possible one day to speak to Chief Drew over the phone? Yeah, Anthony, I'd be glad to. I think we got this number, right? I saw the number pop up. I'll shoot you a call. I can't promise it'll be today, but I'll shoot you a call and we'll talk a little bit, okay? Oh, they're talking about fourth grade. Okay, Roberta, there's a dead-end road between two apartment complexes on Terrace and Thorncliffe that has junk pile. Wow, you guys are locked on. I just had a conversation last night about some illegal dumping and people piling up junk. That is a great. I'm very aware of that. Well, I shouldn't say very aware. I heard about it last night. Some things that we're trying to address, and that is exactly the area that was brought up to me. So I will pass that on. And we'll get some of our partners out there to address that. Thank you so much. Roberta, you're exactly right. I just had that conversation last night. Keith, I'm sorry, the April 24th TikTok issue is a trend currently going on that is calling for a National Rape Day. Yeah, Keith, I have to look at that. I haven't seen that. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, Rhonda. Chief, April 20. Oh, apparently some men have dubbed National Rape Day. Wow. So I think somebody asked me what my thoughts were. I don't even know how you address that. Who comes up with something like that? And I apologize for not knowing. I'll certainly look it up. I think I even got some people here in the room looking it up now. But who even thinks of that? Where does that come from? Let me tell you. From where I sit, every Monday I get a report of crimes that happened over the weekend, and every Thursday during the week. And I hear about those sexual assaults on women, on men, children. I don't think that's funny at all. So if that is in fact what it's about, that's a shame. That's sad. Because when I read the reports of the victims of things that they go through, I don't take that funny at all. and I won't respond to it that way. Rhonda, thank you. I appreciate that. Deborah, a group of people trying to make that. Oh, so she's talking about the same thing. Okay, scroll down just a little bit. Am I all caught up? Kendra. Oh, Kendra. Wow, thank you. Nugent is calling
When is calling the person interested.
Mr. Jackson. Was that Johnson?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, great.
Officer Wynn's gonna.
Wow, very good. Kendra, thank you so much. Can you give us an update on the status of the gang violence in the city? How are we, wait, I lost, where are we at?
Right there.
Oh, so gang violence. Terry, I'll say this. We talked a little bit about the crime. Right now, the crime is down 24%. We have 10 homicides in our city. 6 are cleared. Of the 4 remaining, 3 strong leads. I feel very confident they will be cleared, and then 1 is going to be a result of an arson. What we get is, from what I have seen, is individuals identify themselves as a gang. They may switch back and forth. It really becomes sort of this street, that street, territorial. But I want to be very, very careful that we just don't throw out that label. I'm very cognizant of, and I'm not saying that we don't have gangs in this city. I'm not saying that. But I'm also very cognizant that we don't label every demographic as an individual as a gang member. I think when we have those registers that I understand that, but I don't want that just to sit on a database somewhere and it be carried over. Every individual that commits a crime, or every individual that's a victim of a crime, or every individual that lives in a particular neighborhood is not a gang member in this city. So I'm be very, very careful of labels that we throw out. I look at the crime as it is and where it occurs, and then the third thing I look at is, what is the motive? Is it gang related? Did this individual act a certain way or commit this crime because it was against a particular group, or did this individual steal a car because they needed to get from point A to point B? Did this individual commit a robbery? Or was this shooting gang related, or was this shooting because we had an argument and you threatened me and I'm threatening you back, or some nonsense that went over on Facebook? So I think we have to be very, very careful when you talk about gang violence, is looking at the violence that occurs and trying to understand the motive. That's when we talk about, earlier on we were talking about domestic situations, especially a brother killing his brother. What led to that? Right? What can we learn from that? What indicator? Was there anything that we should have picked up on sooner? A call for service to the house? Was there domestic violence? Did workers know anything? So I just want to be very, very careful about labels, and we dig very hard into not only the victimology of our victim, but also our offender. But that's a good question. At the end of Cypress, there's illegal dumping as well. Yep, and that I got very good. The dangers of social media. Yeah, Keith, you're very true. Am I caught up to everyone?
Mhm.
I want to hit on a couple things I've got on the board. We talked about our crime. We talked about our memorial service is coming up in May. Is Police Week is dedicated as a week to remember officers who give the ultimate sacrifice. Still some COVID restrictions. We will do a virtual demonstration, a virtual video, if you will. We'll have some words and talk and show respect and honor those that have given their life in service to this great city. The men and women who have died performing, working at this department, serving this city. In October, we will do a in-person service. That's the same thing we did last year. I think hopefully that we'll see some things open up and allowed to have more. I think it's important, though, that we do represent and honor those that have given their life. So I don't want to let that week go by, but we will do an in-person ceremony in October. We're looking for a venue now. We were at Calvary Chapel last year, beautiful, beautiful sanctuary, and Pastor Tony and the church was very, very receptive and allowed us to use their facility. It was really moving. It was great. Talked about a youth open mic. So again, focusing on youth, right? How about this? Last summer we had some kickball games. This year we're going to do some flag football games. So this Sunday up at Dozier Middle School, I've got a bunch of police officers who are going to play flag football against, I believe I have the ages right, 3 different games, 8 and 9-year-olds 11 and 12-year-olds, and 13 and 14-year-olds. I promise you, I will have police officers who get injured. I promise you. We work all day and be fine. We get on a football field, kickball field, we will get injured. But we are looking forward to it. We're going to be We're going to be fixing hamburgers and hot dogs. I got some guys who are going to work the grill. I'll test the food first, make sure it's okay. But it'll be a good event, and I'm really looking forward to it. We had some officers who came up with the idea, and anything we can do with youth, right? I'm excited about. So we're going to play some flag football on Sunday. I think they have a pretty good league up there that's pretty well attended. So I appreciate them allowing us and thinking of us. But I'm looking forward to get on the grind, if you will, right? And do a little football. I saw the flags we got ordered and picked up today. So Lieutenant Morgan is on it, and we're good to go. We talked about the 16 recruits that we had graduate last month. They're doing well. I will tell you, we have another academy that started in mid-February, and we continue, and then we'll have another academy that will start in May. So again, so we're continually hiring and bringing people into this department. Talked a little about the challenges of the pandemic and COVID. I'm glad to see the vaccine clinics are up and running. We usually work on the outside, helping with traffic control, and I will tell you, Chief Johnson, the fire department, Karen Witherspoon, and our human resources division have just done a phenomenal job. It's good to see the availability and the numbers. I don't have an account of the actual numbers, but I've just seen them work. They just do a phenomenal job of getting people in and out and scheduling, and when they have open spots, calling people to get them to come in, and they're just doing great. So I really appreciate what they're doing for our city. Last Saturday, right? So we did flag. We're doing flag football this coming Sunday. Last Saturday, there was a challenge in the Hampton Roads area, Tidewater area, for a softball tournament with police and fire. So I was over in Chesapeake, wasn't playing, right? I was the guy sitting on the bench cheering the team on. But I got to see our softball team, Lieutenant Spencer and the gang, play softball over in Chesapeake. We won 2 and lost 1. But it was just great fellowship and seeing the guys out playing, and guys and girls both. It was just a fun day. Me and Jeff Wright did our best Bob Euchre impersonating from the bleachers, and then Kelly would take a picture and capture those special moments, if you will, right? To see some of the guys chugging around the bases and breathing heavy, and then eating a donut in the dugout. It was quite the sight. But we had a good time, and got to see Chief Wright and from Chesapeake there, and we just had a really good time. Got to spend some time with Chief Grinstead as we teased the team and cheered them on to their victories. So I really appreciate them coming out and together. We talked about community events getting back on track. One thing I want to say before I'm going to go back to questions, and I've held you guys a little long, and I apologize, but there's a trial going on in Minneapolis. All right, Mr. Shaven's trial in the death of George Floyd, and I know emotions are high, feelings are high. A lot of people tuned in. It reminds me of early in my career when the O.J. Simpson trial. I'm not saying the situations are the same. I just remember that everyone was glued to the outcome of the trial, and I did put out a message yesterday for our officers to remember to just be vigilant, to know that trial, a lot of people have a lot of feelings. Our job is to keep people safe. It's not left or right, it's to keep people safe, to protect the citizens of this city. So I just want officers to remember that as they respond to calls or as the verdict comes out, whatever it may be, that we're going to continue to respond, patrol our city, our neighborhoods, but understand a lot of people, there's a lot of feeling and emotion, as there should be. I understand that. But I want to know that we are monitoring that, keep an eye on that, and I expect, I believe that our citizens, will let the justice system take its course. I guess that's the best way to say that. So, all right, so let me catch back up here. I don't want to miss any of these. Did I miss anybody before Mike, or is Mike where I left off? Why did law enforcement officers try to gain access to the Chinese restaurant just near Unclaimed freight because of reports to files in the front window? But what? The owner was told that was probable cause Yeah, Mike, I don't know. I'd have to know a little bit more about the case. I don't, from that, I don't, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if that recent or exactly what situation. I just don't, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Deborah, yes, unfortunately, people are acting on 3-minute attempted to, oh, this is the TikTok. Yeah, Deborah, I'll take a look at that. I think they've got it pulled up for me here. So when I'm finished here, I'll take a look at it. Uh, was the, was the investigation solved that involved a woman and man found in
Green Street.
in Willow Green?
Green Street.
Oh, yes, that investigation is solved, and I will tell you, Patty, that is, if we're talking about the right one, the same one. That was a individual who committed a murder and then took his own life. There was several witnesses to that, and video as well. Now the detectives will still work through, but again, trying to understand why. But I believe there's some mental illness involved in that particular situation. But it wasn't two true victims there. It wasn't two individuals that were killed, and so we're looking for someone. It was an individual used committed a murder and then turned the gun on himself and took his own life. Very sad. It's very sad. Kelly, we're excited for this with the Tri-City Hurricane. Oh, Kelly Stewart, my friend. Yeah, we're gonna get it on with the Hurricanes, all 3 levels. I'm telling you, those youth better not be too hard on us. I need those officers back to work on Monday. But yeah, I'm gonna come out there and be cheering on a little bit, and maybe I'll try to steal some signs. There may be some holding penalties, if you will, right? But I expect to have a great time, and I'm really, really excited about. You know what I was excited about is that we have an officer who coaches, volunteers and coaches in that league, and thought it would be a great idea for police and kids to play one another. And that is what I'm looking for. That makes all the difference. It should not just be the chief of police trying to find ways to interact with the community and youth. It should be every single officer on this department. And I ask one thing of every academy class that graduates. During your tour of your 8 or 10 hour shift, find at some moment in every day you work to have a positive interaction with the youth. If it's an hour, if it's 30 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's a 2-minute conversation as you drive through a neighborhood, stop and talk to someone. At some point during your shift, have a positive interaction. I don't care if you go to a football game, baseball, basketball, volleyball. Speaking of volleyball, I would very much like to throw out some challenges. I'd like to see us play some volleyball games. Male, female, high school, middle school, doesn't matter to me. Church groups. Do we have a volleyball team? No. Can we put one together? Absolutely. But that's some things I'd like to see us do as well. So if you know anybody that plays volleyball, I do got some former volleyball players. We got a lot of weekend warriors on this department, right? In our heyday. But I'd love to interact a little bit and do some things in different communities, inside or out. Doesn't make any difference. We got great community centers in all 3 parts of the city. So throw out that challenge if anybody knows anybody. Keith, hopefully people come to attend our event at Ashland National. Yeah, absolutely. I know, Keith, I know I'll be there, and I'm looking forward to it. Did I miss anybody?
Yeah, one above.
One above, okay. Oh, Cameron. So Cameron's talking about the pups. So we did a session for a while called Tail Wagging Tuesdays. We partnered with the animal shelter about trying to get animals adopted. Started out with dogs, and it got into cats, and then there was all kinds of. So we're still looking at it. We've got to have a partnership though, and trying to work out some of those details. So Cameron, I think it's a great cause. Chief Randall and some of the chiefs up there would get tease each other about whose dog would get adopted first. And I believe some officers fell in love with the animals and ended up adopting them themselves. But I think it's a great cause. I hope we get it worked out. We just got to work out some of those things with the entities. Deborah, the youth softball version would be awesome. My grandson Taylor joined the youth Yankees and loves you and would love to play. Wow, well, I would love to meet your grandson. Youth softball. Yeah, okay. So youth softball would love. Well, Deborah, send me some information. Let me know. Yeah, we're all up about having some games with some kids. We played. We've had some inter games with the Minchville girls softball team. We played that a couple years ago. But I tell you, I got some guys out here, guys and girls both, that they don't like to lose, Deborah. I'm just saying. They're hardcore. But look, I've kept y'all long enough. I've tried to hit on a couple things. I appreciate the conversation and just being open and transparent. Please be on the lookout for notices about our Citizens Academy. Monica White is back in the game now, and we're going to get those up and running. That's a tremendous benefit where we open the doors and really show you and have detectives, forensic technicians, and homicide detectives, and narcotic detectives and officers explain why we do what we do. We have our experts that teach the academy on our use of force about the different things we have in our tool belt and how we use them and when we're using them and when we're not. The difference between excessive force and use of force. It's just a great venue to learn a little bit more about the department. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I would love. I absolutely do remember Yankees, huh? That's who he plays for. Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely have to talk. But again, we'll do this again at 6 this evening. Cameron will be joining me. I want him to talk a little bit about youth programs that he does with us, and from his perspective, is it valuable, police and youth working together? He's a great kid, and I learn a lot from him. I enjoy him. He teases me, but I learn a lot. I learn a lot from him. I want to thank you all for taking the time to spend with me a little bit this afternoon. I know things are busy and a lot of things hustle and bustle. It's hard, but look, go get a Mountain Dew. Keith, do you think they're ever far away, my friend? Do you think they're ever far away? Right? But thanks for spending time with me. And if you go back and look at anything, if there's anything I didn't hit on, please send in a message, and I'll get back to you. We'll do this again at 6 o'clock. We'll have some conversation, and I know things are challenging right now, and this pandemic that we're going through, and a lot of unanswered questions, concerns, kids being back in school, jobs, and I get it. I get it. It's trying times, right? Stuff that we see going on in different departments and across our country. Some of those things could be one police call away. I think the more we have conversations instead of confrontations, that we're able to sit down and talk and reason together. We may not always agree, but at least we can respect each other. I'll share some things tonight about some programs we put into place, some mediation sessions that we've had. I think it's been very beneficial, but I'll say that for tonight. But again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the support. Mary, I appreciate that. Mary, thank you so much. Terry, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. We'll talk again this evening. Please be safe. Look out for one another. I love you guys, and I appreciate. You know what? Let me say this before I sign off. To the men and women that may watch this later that work for this department, sworn and civilian, you matter to me. I appreciate the work that you do. We're blessed to work in this city. We have a fantastic city manager and mayor and city council who ask hard questions. And I said before, as they should. They want the best. We will be better tomorrow than we are today. But we're better today than we were yesterday. We have to continue to evolve and change. New laws come into effect that take place. We have to change and evolve. We don't police today like we did in 1985, and we won't police 10 years from now like we do today. We have to invest in people, technology, move forward. But as long as we realize that everyone has value, and treat each other with respect, I believe we can move forward in the right direction. All right? Thank you guys for spending time with me. We'll do this again. I know I've said goodbye about 10 times. I'm sorry. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you at 6.